has been Short Bus. I mean, they also played against one of their other Vicious sister teams in Vicious Unforgiven in that second round of the upper bracket. But I mean, now this is for everything in that Vicious org. I mean, the stakes, already high when you're thinking about the greater context of this tournament, right? It's an elimination game, but also for the pride of Vicious, which of these teams will be the better one tonight? We shall figure that out if we could get in there very, very soon. We've got Antarctic Peninsula coming up for map number 1.
Yeah, not Li Zhang. It's going to be the Antarctic pick here. I think this is Shark's pick, if I'm not mistaken, based on them coming down to the lower bracket later, like you were saying. And it's a very interesting one, right? We always talk about how much Li Zhang we see because of how standard it is with a different kind, with how the map is going to function. But I mean, well, it's not as standard to play here on Antarctic. I think everybody knows what's going to happen, right? It's going to be Malga on all 3 points. The rush is simply too dominant here across all of the sub maps. It doesn't matter if you're on the icebreaker, the sub level, the labs. There's just too many paths, too much options to be able to kite and go through here on the Malga composition, but just rush in general, right? It's always going to be very powerful for how we see things. So just going into this, it's going to be an interesting setup between these two squads to see who can really come up massive. As we are just continuing, potentially Fletch having some troubles. We do have to see. In the Fletch, are you there? Can we tap in? The silence is going to be a harsh and emphatic no, but you know what? That's okay. We can sort things as we go on here. But, looking in the spawn rooms, trying to see what's going to be happening here. Getting a interesting feed from one of our observers there, to say the least. Yeah, cutting back to the nice, clean existence on this side of things. We now have our first look at these lineups, and Vicious Control is going to be running the Ana variant of the
Itself, did we just get hit by an EMP?
Well, no. So we're back potentially. Well, we cannot see what's currently going on, but we assume there's something happening. Yeah, no, very odd. Both Fletch and Echo, both Fletch and our producer Echo seem to have had an internet issue of some kind. So
She infected me.
that stuff. She infected. I mean, hey, listen, that's how you want to view it. But we should be able to get things up and running momentarily here if you'll just bear with us. Sometimes the internet issues, they happen to the best of us. I assume the match is happening somewhere in the world. I'm assuming they have not paused us. Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's...
Okay, yeah. We're trying to get it figured out right now. Well,
but Fletch, you missed it, but they did Control ran out on the Ana variant of the Malga comp. So they were playing the Ana instead of the Brigitte. So that could be an interesting one. Well,
Okay, we're
we don't
going
have a
in, but
stream
we
yet.
need a stream from Echo 22 Bloodlust version. Dude, okay, scuff, 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 scuff. Yeah. I love scuff. Okay, 53% for Vicious Control right now, up over Vicious Sharks. That's Heat, 3 ultimates in the hands of Control. Very well in control of this cage fight, down from Lemonade early. Sorxus does have the Death Blossom, but needs to use the Wraith form to get away from the anti-Panda. Will not be so lucky, does not have the same ability to get away from that, and will fall down, and Vicious Sharks will continue to lose out here.
Yeah, I mean, that pick on the Lemonade is massive, though, but Rafa is going ham on the back line with that, with even more picks, right? And these picks actually need to come through very desperately, because now Sharks are going to find themselves in a one-fight scenario where they might end up over-investing their ultimate bank that they've built up, which means even if Control wins this fight, as long as they hang on to some of their own ultimates, they'll be able to come back in after the fact and win the fight after Sharks.
Alright, well, one more fight here, and Vicious Control is all they need, but Torterra just explodes! Now the cage fight is down, and orbital rays from either side are used. The Death Blossom from Drixon, good for 2 themselves. The Dragon Blade from Panda, only good for 1 kill. Unfortunately, Drixon, even with that nano boost and the healing from water, not going to be enough. And Vicious Control start us out here on this Laboratories map, and they really look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, from what we saw there, right, they were actually, you know, doing what our earlier series was unable to do, which is following up on the anti-nades and keeping your Ana in a safe enough position to allow, you know, Wavy Creature to find the value, right? Instead of forcing that Biotic Grenade in a healing sense, being able to look for it constantly as an engage tool really made all of the difference in the world there. So, Vicious Sharks now having to try to find some sort of answer earlier on. When we saw this Ana come out, right, the other team had to adapt. I think it was a Nenra picking up the Kirito for a lot of this, but instead, Sharks are opting for a different angle where they're going to swap their tank over to the Orisa. So obviously, if you pop that Fortify, anti-is not going to matter as much just because of how tanky you are, but this doesn't cleanse it. This doesn't stop the antis from coming through in any way, so it'll be interesting to see how this Orisa ends up working.
Alright, in Icebreaker, we go Vicious Control dominating that first sub-map. We'll see how this is going to work out for them. Lemonade on the ground here, but Infamous is in the ground. Rafa with the backhand, good for the first pick. And Vicious Control absolutely coming out stunning here.
I mean, yeah, you just saw it right there, right? Torterra ended up just sort of standing still as the rest of Control either shot at Torterra or walked past going around here. And Shark's composition, it just simply is not the one that's working right now. I mean, they definitely need to find a way to stop Wavy Creature from constantly applying these antis onto them because it's being followed up, right? Rafa and Sorax are beautifully in position all the time, and Lemonade is not afraid to get aggressive with these slams to also follow up.
Alright, well, in we go. Vicious Control in control right now. Torterra already so damn low. This Orisa, which was known for not taking very much damage before in previous metas, not as good at it these days, as you can clearly see.
And just the Orisa blowing up, like you said, and it's not even like in the middle of a fight, it's on entry here. Lemonade doing a beautiful job constantly keeping Torterra under wraps, not allowing them to walk forward, because that's also denying space for the rest of the team, right? As you see, Sharks are making some adaptations. They are over to an Ana of their own, but without the space necessary for Infamous to look for these Biotic Grenades right back, I mean, it's pretty much going to be damn useless here for the Sharks.
Well, here's the Death Blossom in from Sorxus, and make that 3 kills for the Reaper here. And Vicious Control are taking the initiative in a way that Vicious Sharks just cannot seem to keep up with.
I couldn't agree with you more. Vicious Control did dump both DPS ults and the cage into that, so now we are looking at just support ults. Meanwhile, the Sharks are going to walk into this with a Terra Surge. Potentially Drixon able to build up towards the Death Blossom during the fight, but that's going to be a pretty large if, depending on if they're able to focus down the Reaper.
Well, here is the Terra Surge in from Torterra. Wraith form and a good charge out there from the players of Vicious Control will mean that Torterra finds nothing either with the ultimate or the life there. Sorxis answers 2 for 2 with Drix and water very low, as Sorxis is going to keep this fight rolling for the side of Vicious Control. Just an Ana and a Tracer versus a Malga and a Reaper. Not exactly the position I want to be in if I am the Vicious Sharks. Torterra looking for the opportunity as Lemonade is hitting a flex, and that just cost them the fight.
I mean, yeah, more than likely here, unless Zorox gets healed up and wants to commit a Blossom, but committing it in the face of a Doomfist is going to be oh so tricky, but the Doom's dead!
And they don't touch. Okay, so very lucky that Lemonade didn't just throw everything into the garbage can, or even that was very close to a garbage disposal play there. But yeah, I mean, Vicious Control, most of us considered them the underdogs here, but that map was not close. Like, not for a second did it ever look like the Sharks were ever in that.
No, and it's very uncharacteristic. Like we said going into this, we expect the Sharks to be the heavy favorite, and it would have to be Control finding a way to punch up, but they've gone far above beyond that, right? It was looking like a round one knockout if you were still comparing this to boxing. Just really, there was no point that Sharks felt like they had a decent fight plan, game plan. Like they just could not make anything, any sort of headway into what Control was running there. So, now sent reeling, realizing this Control squad is here to play. Sharks, you have the whole map pool of things to work with, but that's not a good look to start.
Yeah, ugly. That's what I'd call it for Vicious Sharks. The team who, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, everybody was like, oh, yeah, Vicious Sharks, they've got this. I mean, they're the 2 seed out of their group. While Vicious Control are the 5 out of theirs. I mean, that's not a small disparity, right? And I would say that the Malga composition in general is a great equalizer, but to be honest with you, I said it the other night. All else equal, I mean, Orisa is just not good into Malga. She just isn't. And it's nothing against Torterra as a player. It's the same reason that I don't want Ana in most cases, but obviously that's not really a factor since both teams have got an Ana in this case. Orisa just isn't a good character when you're playing into this hard Malga composition.
Exactly, right? I mean, it's just one of those things where the Malga, it can absolutely burn through the Orisa. Obviously, it's nice, right? When you go into that Fortify, you can't get critical hit by being on fire, but you're still taking tons and tons of damage, right? Those bullets are still impacting you even when you're fortified up. So, if you're going to play the Orisa, it involves playing in an extremely fast way because the Malga can out-sustain you, out-brawl you in the long fight, so you have to be playing incredibly quickly. And when you're having to introduce an Ana into the mix, like I said, Infamous needed to start finding value with those nades, getting antis like Wavy Creature was all map long, and unfortunately, that just was not the case.
Yeah, so now as we get ready to head into our next maps, we do have a bit of an update. I think that it would seem that Vicious Sharks were having audio issues. I don't want to point the finger and say that that's the only reason that this map was as one-sided as it was, but it could have played a factor in that case. But so it seems like Vicious Sharks are trying to figure this out. But I mean, yeah, there really is not much else that I can go out of my way to say other than don't play Orisa. She's not good. I mean, she's all right if you're not playing into Amalga. She is still very, very usable, but the problem is that Control is playing this Malga composition very close to how it should be played, with the exception of the Ana and Tracer. I mean, there's just a big disconnect there with the game plan from Sharks.
Yeah, and so only time will tell if, they can sort of get things together. Granted, like you said, we did have a little bit of, apparently they're saying they had some audio issues. And because they're using the in-game chat, it just makes it a little bit harder but you know, that's sort of the life of a console player, right? That's just what ends up happening. But it seems like people are getting back into the lobby and they are chatting to each other about our next map pick. The Sharks have decided Push is going to be the name of the game, Runa Sapi to be more specific. And it's going to be interesting because, again, it's going to be the straight Malga matchup. We could see potentially some more like Ash hit scanny type things come into the mix instead of just the generic Echo and Reaper, but you know, ultimately these sightlines and stuff, if they're not cared for or taken advantage of properly, either team could find themselves with some pretty heavy footing advantage on this map.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm so curious on what the plan is here for Sharks. I think that this is not the worst place to play the Orisa if that is for some reason what you want to go back to. I personally wouldn't recommend that. But I mean, if you're gonna do it, Runasapi's not a horrible place. I feel like poking from a high ground as Orisa is not the worst thing in the world with these comps, but we do have a substitution, so Vicious Sharks will not be running the Orisa, assumingly, or the Malga, with Pla and Lucas coming into the lineup here. They obviously want to do something different here on Runasapi.
Yeah, I mean, the Wrecking Ball is very imminent, and it's such an interesting hero when it comes out, right? Because it's either going to be a generational success that you will be telling your kids about, like, oh my goodness, this ball could try to rewrite the meta, maybe it's better than the Malga, or it's going to fall flat on its face and your ball player is going to have to swap Malga halfway through the map, and that never looks pretty for anybody involved. So we'll have to see what side of the coin that Vicious Sharks finds themselves on today. I want you to know, I was doing some observer work the other day for this map, and I was so jealous because observers, they always find these cute animal statues. I was flying around the map like a chicken with my head cut off, could not find a single one for any of my observer shots, and I felt so bad.
Oh, you live, you learn, and now it seems like Vicious Control understand what Shark's plan is with Plug coming into the lineup. They're playing the Orisa composition themselves. It's a little bit different. They're running the Juno Brig backline still, but it is still going to be very, very interesting, reliant on the stun and the whip shot to deny Pla and the Wrecking Ball dive. Clearly, these teams know each other very well, so they know what Pla in the lineup means. It's ball down the line. Lucas and Water on a very interesting backline composition on a Zen at the moment. Slam comes down from Pla, and Wavy Creature would be very lucky to live there, and the luck is not in the sights there. What is happening here? Lemonade just walks down 3 players.
It would have been a fourth if that health back wasn't there. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. You cannot allow an Orisa to do that to your entire team, but unfortunately, Shark's composition can't battle an Orisa very effectively, right? It was going to take pretty much a united team effort to actually get some meaningful damage in to deter the Metal Horse from, you know, doing just that every single fight.
Pla's got 3 HP up there. What is happening with this Wrecking Ball losing that much HP that quickly? Now coming back in with the slam, gonna go down onto the Ash there, who will be able to get around the corner, get the healing from a botch, and keeping this fight rolling, if you could even really call it that. This hasn't really been a team fight. It's just been Pla and Panda kind of just running around.
Yeah, very uncoordinated for a dive. This is not the normal Sharks we see. And Vicious Control, I mean, taking full advantage of it right now. They have the checkpoint capped, forward spawns have been secured, and now they're going to be looking for more. I mean, your Ana should never be caught out like that, but that's a good start when your Zen gets a pick.
Well, not as strong of a follow-up there as Drixon ends up getting traded. Fortify from Lemon to stay in this fight. A Terra Surge ready to pull here. Should they choose to do it, Lucas will have to use the Transcendence to get out, and you know what? Lemonade is going to be damn happy to get that ultimate out for the Terra Surge, a very maneuverable comp that they've got for the most part. And now that Pla is dead, this fight can still rage on as Sorax's found 3 picks with the Viper, and now Control, I mean, they are dominating this series.
Yeah, I mean, it really has only been Lucas coming up with the picks. You normally need it from your Tracer or your Wrecking Ball, but it's been the Zen trying to step up and deliver, but you can't expect it all the time. Now with a minefield on the bot, they should at least stop progress for the moment.
Yeah, Bob going to enter the fray, into the backline, runs through a couple of those mines, but pay them no heed. Does he slam down onto Lemonade, and Pla trying to follow up here. 84 meters is where Vicious Control will stop, and a long way to go for Vicious Sharks.
Long way to go, but not impossible. You know, good stabilization. You invested I'd say a proper amount. You're coming into this with your own Bob as well as a Pulse Bomb to boot. But Wavy Creature having the rally could be cause for concern. Giving everybody that extra sustain, that extra health, could certainly let them live through both of these DPS ultimates if Sharks are not careful about when it goes out.
Alright, Bob in from Drixon, but Water has fallen, and Rafa just, basically single-handedly taking care of the entire backline for Vicious Sharks. Even without Lemonade, Vicious Control are more than comfy.
And it's so weird, right? Because, I mean, Vicious Control, it feels like they're battling without a player a lot of the time, but they just keep getting these picks, keep finding themselves at a man advantage. Oh no, I think they know the Ash is hiding me.
I agree, but Vicious Control are okay. So yeah, we're waiting for our feed to come back, but we are back, I believe. Some more difficulties here, but if what I click on when I see the stream is domination from Vicious Control, I'll not be surprised at all.
Well, it's us. It's just us. Hello.
Well,
hi. How you doing? Hi,
I'm doing okay.
Wonderful.
Doing okay. I got my hot chocolate. It's
I was
very
gonna say,
yummy.
What were you sipping out of that cup there?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you
sipping
did
on
talk about
sipping on some Abuelita hot chocolate.
Hey, listen, we're not sponsored. You can't give out brands like that.
Yeah, well,
And hey, look,
I talked about it. If I come back to anything other than Vicious Control domination, I'd be surprised. It's 133 meters to 0.
To be fair, devil's advocate, if there's a map a team could come back from 133 meters, it is here on Runasabi. Like, this map, I mean, we've seen it in pro level. We've seen it in so many other CGL matches. Like, there's something about this map that it truly is never over until the map is over.
Alright, well, coming up here, we will see if Vicious Sharks have got that in them. Vicious Control only in possession of 2 ultimates. Drixon going to throw Bob down into the backline. Nano boost onto Lucas, of all people, who is shoved away there by the spear. Lemonade chases down Drixon in this high ground fight. Vicious Control with the numbers advantage currently, trying to keep it rolling. A nice little nade there on a Syroxis. Rally comes out, so now Vicious Control are just going to try and live through this ultimate. They're going to invest one of their own, in fact. Will get the stuns out on to either of these Brigs. Lucas will be the first victim. Panda will be the second. Vicious Control continue to hold on to this lead. Still, none given to Sharks.
Yeah, and that really sucks for Sharks because they did invest their rally as, you know, other ultimates, but now it is just a bit of a stagger out here. Having to just come and Lemonade is just tearing through the rest of the team here, and that bot moving ever closer. With Control, you know, having the only ultimates on the board right now, this Bob and Pulse Bomb, we could be looking at a full cap here.
Minute 50 on the clock. Terra Surge and Orbital Ray on the verge of coming into reality, but that Pulse Bomb is more than a reality for Lucas. And I mean, I thought that the first map was dominant. Vicious Control are not slowing down. I mean, it was 200-0 on map number 1, and that was a clean sweep on map number 2 as well. Nothing lost at all for Vicious Control. Start to finish, they're just better right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to put it. You know, unfortunate for this map, right? You sub in your ball player, and, you know, not saying wrecking ball players are all OTPs, right? But the matter is, when you sub them in to play wrecking ball, you never want them on another tank. If they're ending up going to another tank, it's because they're forced onto it, or they feel like they're being shut down and outmaneuvered, and that's what happened there. But even the Diva switch just simply was not enough. The shots were connecting on the side of Vicious Control. And now, you know, they find themselves in a, like you said, very dominant position, up 2 maps, about to put one final map potentially on the series here before they send their fellow Vicious team out of the tournament.
Yeah, that was really, really gross. But for now, we're going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we'll see if Vicious Sharks have got anything left in them, or if they're just going to stop swimming out right here in the CGL Season 14 playoffs.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Don't mind us. In our ears, our producer is just losing her mind.
Our prod is tweaking right now, guys. Like, oh goodness, sick kid and internet problems. Pick a struggle, Echo. Jesus. But we're back. We're back. I said it a little bit. Pound for pound. I don't think I've ever seen a match this one-sided. Literally, Vicious Sharks have not gotten anything done. Like, they didn't get a percentage on Antarctic Peninsula. They didn't get a meter on Runasapi. This has been start to finish, top to bottom, left to right, domination from Vicious Control. And I genuinely, at this point, I don't know what Vicious Sharks could do to change their history. I mean, we're going back to their starting lineup here as we head to map number 3. I don't know what map it is, but I am nervous for them because after the season that they've had, the strong, performance that they've had over this season and in this playoff, man, this would be a sad way to go out.
Yeah, nobody wants to, especially when you're up against, another Vicious team. Like we said, there's going to be pride on the line. Whoever comes out of this is the last Vicious team standing here in NA Console Open. They still have obviously like 3 or 4 more matches before we're looking at a title shot. But, there's some natural pride that's going to be on the line. And like we said, going into this, Sharks should have been the heavy favorites on paper just off of that regular season performance. But it seems like it was simply not enough. Vicious Control, they came to play, and now with our potential final map looming, Fletch, it seems like the Sharks have rolled the dice and hope that Clash will be their savior.
It's not a bad gamble, right? Oftentimes in these Clash maps, it does actually feel like the team that is a little bit behind in terms of gameplay does get rewarded for losing, especially early on, unless you can just absolutely steamroll. If you cap out the first 2 points back to back, it's very hard to hold on, right? The defensive advantages on Clash are very, very prevalent, especially when you consider that the final point on either side is literally at the spawn door of the, whoever is defending, right? And so going back all the way to C from a spawn happens very, very often where these teams pick up, go down 2, pick up 3 in a row, then the other team picks up another, and then, it's always back and forth near the end. But if you are dominant early, you're getting you're getting punished for winning early in this game mode. So maybe that's the gamble that Sharks are going with here. But I guess, like I said, I don't know because they have not showed me anything yet.
Yeah, no. And so it's obviously hard to make that judgment call of exactly what's going on. But, this is Sharks' last stand, right? We hope to see a better performance from them here because nobody wants to watch a tournament run end in that 0-3 fashion. It's absolutely tragic whenever it does happen here. Meanwhile, Vicious Control, I mean, hey, listen, they're probably happy for it. They're like, listen, you wanna go out 0-3, that's fine. Then we can focus on these other matchups ahead. But yeah, it's really going to be interesting here on Throne of Anubis. I will be interested to see if we just continue to see Malga, or if we're going to see maybe some of that Junker Queen look that teams like to bring out here sometimes, simply because they realize these fights are going to play a lot quicker. You can do a few different things with the fights that allow you to play the Junker Queen instead of the Malga, who has to sustain so unbelievably long across every single point. But, it's just one of those things where you gotta see how these teams are feeling, what's going on in the comms, and everything like that.
I struggle to believe that Vicious Sharks are not at least a little bit boomed. It would be hard not to be, right? This is a position that really no team is in very often. I mean, I get tilted losing one fight sometimes. If I were in a position where I could not figure out how to get any progress at all, I would be throwing my controller out the window, right? This is rough. I genuinely have no words to describe how dominant Vicious Control has been thus far in this series. So if Vicious Sharks even want a chance at winning anything, a point at this point would be an improvement, right? They need to let themselves go, right? They need to drop all expectations of themselves. They need to take the pressure off of themselves and let go. You cannot win if you have these expectations of, being dominant, winning a championship at all times on you. It's just not how it's going to go unless you are that dominant team that is at the top of the rankings all the time. And Vicious Sharks, they have those expectations on them. They have these ideas that they should be better, but you can't let that affect you now. You have to be able to come back from the brink and at least put up a fight.
That's what you're hoping for, right? Just being able to put up that fight. But, it's one of those things where teams, they got to be able to figure out if they're capable of that in their own right. But, just sort of going back and forth as we are just sort of yapping here, looking at, this matchup going through, right? Let's say, whichever Vicious team comes out of this one, looking heavily like Control right now, there's still a gauntlet to run in this console bracket, right, Fletcher? You talked about it at the start, right? You have Mental Institution. If you can somehow win that, you have Snowfall. And if you can somehow win there, like, this is the craziest lower bracket you could run. But luckily, I don't even need to hear Fletcher's opinion on it because the yap is over and it seems like we're going into map.
Yeah, well, lower bracket crazy. That's my opinion. But Throne of Anubis, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're seeing, the starters coming back in for Sharks, Torterra, and I believe it was Water Lucas coming back in. It's been a while since we saw them play, so I guess we will learn here very, very soon what the idea is. Okay, it's Infamous coming back in to the lineup. Yeah, so it's looking like a hard Malga mirror here. Some differences across the board, but the idea is in general the same. Now, Vicious Sharks, we got to see what they've got left in the tank if they want something. And it's another pause coming through from the side of Vicious Sharks. This is I mean, this is a lot. Right. I had my whole monologue before we went in the map. I'm not going to monologue again, but pauses after pauses do nothing for anybody to get back in the way of, a right
okay,
mind,
so
right?
The reason that they have to pause, though, right?
Uh-huh.
They complained about it after both of the previous maps, saying that there's some audio issue where some of the teammates are unable to hear each other on the side of Sharks, and that's massive, right? That's absolutely, like, communication is one of the most important parts about a team game like this, and if you can't communicate with each other, obviously there's a problem, right? But if somehow half your team is having this problem with in-game audio, I don't know. Doesn't every single console have Discord at this point? Surely there's a workaround, something you can figure out. But seems like we're back in game. Vicious Control still on their Ana variant. Meanwhile, the Sharks are playing the standard Amalgam meta, but they do have the Ashe instead of the Echo here, so maybe adding in this range can try to poke out these supports a little bit.
All right, well, here we go. Objective C. The start, as always, and Torterra just falls over dead. Lemonade goes in hard and drops these bodies left and right. Sunless trying to get cute there, but absolutely run down by a Lemonade who wasn't really caught on to the plan there. But Vicious Control will take this first point.
I mean, it's crazy because, Fletch, we saw this in our earlier series, right? The Enenra game where, you know, this Ana did absolutely nothing because it got ran over time and again, but it seems like Sharks can't figure out that they need to close that distance, punish Wavy for being on this more vulnerable support, instead of letting these anti-nades constantly fly, taking constant poke damage for no reason here. Meanwhile, Control, I mean, they don't have to change anything. They're the ones winning, right? So they can just sort of keep it rolling until Sharks can find some sort of adaptation.
All right, well, here we go back in. Lemonade 95% to a cage fight here, and you've got to think, yeah, let's that thing go. Infamous down, Water, Torterra, everything down. Sunless uses the Death Blossom. I mean, you can see it happening in real time here, Mega.
And I mean, you know, we were talking about it, right? You don't want to go out in this sort of fashion where you're beaten down, but Vicious Control, they have all the momentum, right? 2 points already, having just used the cage, every other ultimate to their name. Sharks have built up to a cage of their own, and their other ultimates are on the way besides that aforementioned used Death Blossom for Sunless, but, you know, it still isn't looking good. Somebody's got to be able to come up and find that first pick to get Sharks back in the saddle.
Now Lemonade backing down here, needs that healing out as the point unlocks. We'll get aggro here very, very soon. Here is the cage fight. Nano Boost Anti on it to Torterra very low, but Sunless comes up massive here. 4 kills for the Vicious Sharks Reaper, and they will find at least a point here. Will not go down winless.
Yeah, and they got that first fight win, but they still, like you saw, got antied up and incredibly low in that, forcing the rally out from Water just to try to keep everybody alive with some extra HP. And, you know, it's so unbelievably precarious because they're still not realizing they have to run down Wavy on this Ana, who, by the way, held onto the Nano Boost, and now Control still has every ult.
Rafa with a pulse bomb off to the side of the brig there, and Bob just goes for a vacation. Not really sure where my boy went, but he's not here.
I mean, he went somewhere. That's absolutely for sure here. And now it's still going to be a recharge.
All right, well, an orbital ray down. The Death Blossom, though, far too much damage to overcome as Vicious Control will objective D capture once more. And back to E.
Back to E where they're already holding, but Vicious Control did dump a lot of ultimates, right? It's just the Nano Boost to their names for the time being. When Sunless gets out of spawn, they will have a Death Blossom to work with. As long as they're not pushing it directly into Lemonade's waiting hands, then this one should be able to deal a devastating amount of damage, but they do have to start worrying about the point.
Well, Srox is crouching around looking for something, but Infamous going over to the Ana lands a nice anti-grenade there on it to Lemonade. The adaptation strong, realizing that if you follow up, this Malga is difficult to deal with that anti-grenade, but with Torterra going down, I mean, the TP there works a little bit better for Soroxis than it did Sunless, and that's a fourth objective.
Potentially heading for the 5th here. This Death Blossom for Sorox is ready to go, and they've already killed Sunless again.
Sunless is dead, and now Beyblade ready to rip. Death Blossom ready to pull. and it will go down the walkthroughs from the cage from Lemonade. You see Torterra going in on the opposite side. Water will fall. Torterra, no cardiac overdrive in sight here, and it is now up to Infamous and Sunless, who have a Death Blossom nano combo of their own, but will they use it? You need to use it. Oh, don't use the Death Blossom there from Sunless, and now with 2 players dead, the anti-big but still heavy ultimate advantage, or rather numbers advantage for Vicious Control. Torterra goes down even with that nano boost, and Sunless desperate, spinning there, no chance in hell. The respawns are gonna be coming out here, but Vicious Control looking to lock this up, maybe?
It's a chaotic, long fight here, but these respawns are there for the Sharks, who are constantly getting in time and again. So now that is something to contend with here as Vicious Control finds himself shorthanded.
Lemonade returns from spawn, though, and without a Malga to feed that cardiac overdrive off of, not going to live there. That fight basically just served as a chance to build these ultimates.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Control can take fights like that just to build ultimates because they have all of the time in the world. Sharks have to respond with 2 more points before Control really has to find, you know, a little bit of sweat on their brow here as Rafa is just hiding, waiting with another pulse bomb that can be the difference maker, the fight ender, if you will, as Sharks, I mean, they're pushing in this ult to their name, now on an Orisa. Things are going from bad to worse here. To win this point, it would take nothing short of a miracle.
3 in here for Vicious Control. You know Rafa wants to find a target with this pulse bomb, forces the recall out of Drixen now. Forced to use their own here. Rafa very low, getting chased by Drixen and able to take care of that, but Water has fallen. Sunless will meet their Baptiste in the same place. The cage fight down on point, and there is nobody but Drixen left with a pulse bomb and a dream, and they know Drixen slept, stuck, and Rafa gets a beautiful pulse bomb stick there on it to Drixen, and there will be a trade, however, but Vicious Control so damn close to winning this outright here. You've got to imagine that they are taking their victory lap at the moment. This Orisa very low, and that point capture comes through. 5-2 will be the final score here on Throne of Anubis, and the domination did not stop for Vicious Control. Sharks did end up finally finding some progress on one of these maps, but still, I mean, not particularly close at any point.
No, and I mean, Control comes away. They now get to say they are the best Vicious team, the last one standing, if you will. Their playoff dreams still alive and well here, getting a chance to get some more matches in. But for the Sharks, it's an unfortunate end, right? I mean, we talked about this team. They had some of the most fun matches throughout the regular season and in these playoffs, but to come into this matchup, I mean, they just look so unbelievably unprepared. They must not have thought Control was going to put up a fight or anything, and they just got blown out by the wayside here. I mean, it's not the end you want, but unfortunately it's the end you receive, as, you know, now you just got to look forward to cheering on your fellow sister team in Vicious Control.
I mean, man, I'm speechless right now. In a rivalry match like this, where you're fighting with someone from your own org, right? Rivalries in general usually tend to bring out the best in either team, and Vicious Sharks just didn't show up in the lobby today. I am going to be incredibly honest. I'm disappointed. I really am. I thought that this match was going to be a good one, a close one, a nice matchup between two good-spirited rosters that are from the same place, but it was just brutality from Vicious Control. That was so disappointing for the season that Vicious Sharks had. What a very disappointing way to go out. But now we are going to cut it to a break. When we come back, we will have a representative from Control to talk to us and potentially get their thoughts about how this series went.
I was going to cut the break. There it goes.
Got lots of love. Love. 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 Got lots of love. Love.
I'm on the opposite of this table. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have the tank of Vicious Control Lemonade here to talk with us about this match. Usually I start these interviews with how you feeling about the match type question, but I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. What are you feeling about how this match progressed? Because as a team in the same org as your opponents tonight, did you expect this to be closer? Did you expect to blow them out of the water like you did?
You know, besides us, this is the only decent team, right? And we've been screaming it before, so it was always somewhat close. But once they got 0%, once they got 0 meters, I knew it was over, bro. I knew it was over.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was some factors here. And, you know, you guys look dominant and in control, right? Mainly on that Malga. But with that on adaptation, we've seen some teams piloting it. And earlier, I mean, we saw it for one of our earlier matches in an Enra completely flop over and fail. So,
without revealing all your secrets, of course, what do you think is the key to making that auto work?
Um, I wish I could tell you, but that is a wavy creature secret. I have no clue. I don't know how he does it, but he's the GOAT.
Okay, so you just show up, you just have a gun in each hand, a smile on your face. That's the sort of vibes we're going
That's
with.
what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Now, this matchup against Sharks, you win. Absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to get to grand finals, I don't know if you've
Oh
seen the
no.
bracket. You have to run quite possibly the most insane gauntlet any team would have to run. And obviously, you're going to come in here and say you can do it, right? No one's going to doubt on themselves. But if you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
if you were being realistic, how far do you think that what do you think is going to be the hardest thing about facing these top tier teams back to back to back?
Okay, so for
Mm,
clarification, the teams that you'd have to go through in order are Mental Institution, YE
GG,
Snowfall, Short Bus.
GG, GG. That's all I gotta say. I mean, it's winnable. It's winnable though. It's winnable.
It's winnable. Hey, any
It's
given
winnable.
Sunday, something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something like that.
Okay. Well, I really don't have anything else for you. That was man. I told you how I felt about this series before we started the
Yeah.
interview. I'm not going to dive any deeper into that. But we're gonna get ready to send you away here, Lemonade, to get ready
I get it.
for your
I get
matchup
it.
against Mental Institution. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you'd like to bring up that maybe we didn't, or any shout outs that you'd like to make before we send you out?
I want to thank my team. They're always there. They always got my back. Rafa might be a little bit special, but he's always got me. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it. We're chilling. It's been fun.
All right. Well, Lemonade, congrats on the win. However, it got done. Best of luck in y'all's lower bracket run.
Thank you,
Continuing.
thank you.
Hey, top 4 though.
That's what I'm
Not
saying,
the
bro.
worst thing in the world,
Not bad at all.
So congratulations on the win. We wish you all the
Yeah.
best of luck moving forward.
You too, man.
Yeah, I'm playing real hard, man. All right, GG.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
See ya.
Okay.
Okay, so here I'm going to speak because I know what Fletch will say if Fletch has continued allowed access to the mic. So I think it's a lot of matches happened today. Echo, if we could just one more time the schedule in case people have missed exactly what's happened, all the craziness that has gone on today. In case you've been living under a rock, earlier on in EU, we had Lunar Falcons secure their spot in the grand finals of the EU console side of things. Then here on NA, we've had BGSU Falcons fall to SCAD B Sports Black. Then Anendra and Beagle Bus both get some 3-0 sweeps. And we tacked another one on with this match you just saw Vicious Control, the dominant Vicious team here. But it's been a lot of Overwatch. It's been a long day. I'm sure we are all due for a rest. And so with all of that being said, of course, got to give shout out to Echo, working through the technical issues that she had, being amazing. Our amazing observers. I think we had
Also a
Mara,
sick kid.
and a sick Echo. Yeah, one of Echo's kids is. Press F in the chat. Hopefully, Echo's child will get healthier. The tummy ache, it consumes us all sometimes. But also we had
happens.
Mara, June being our lovely, lovely observers. Everybody at the CGL team, we worked so hard to get all these matches out for you guys. And with that being said, Sunday is over. We're officially in the last week. So unless some random team needs an extension, crowns are going to start to be handed out here. I mean, that's going to be the end all be all of it, Fletch. And, I'm just excited. I'm excited and a little bit sad, because it's been such a fun season, but it's got to come to an end.
Yeah, the first one, though, scheduled for Wednesday, the first grand finals. Plate Group and Shenzhen Strikers, the surging Shenzhen Strikers. We talk about teams who were dejected. Shenzhen Strikers was dejected at the end of the regular season. They were broken, but, a strong upper bracket run. They find themselves in a matchup with their rivals in Plate Group. So that will be the first grand finals on the board, but that's not till Wednesday. So thank you all for watching. We will catch y'all again tomorrow with some more great matches. I believe we've got 3 lined up, completely
Body's breathing, it's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beat tight. Oh, my body's breathing, it's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't